Hello everyone, hi, how are you guys doing? Welcome back to another episode reaction to Buffy the Vampire Slayer. This is Haarute, my name is Matt. Hello, what's up? Okay, first of all, things are a little bit different, if I don't know if you can tell. So I changed my lighting setup. I have a new light over here because my previous light was not only malfunctioning, but also was a literal health hazard. You don't need to know what my previous lighting situation was, but it wasn't good and it was legitimately dangerous to have around. So I changed it. I bought a new light, and this new light is pretty good to the point that I can lower the exposure and the gain of the camera. So now everything else is a little bit darker and I'm shiny. I can still change things around, but I'm testing stuff out. You guys let me know how you feel about it. But I like this. I like this how it is right now. So we're gonna continue to roll with this. Buffy. What's up? So last time in Buffy, what happened? So we got the second part to What's My Line? I think that was the name of the episode. And we got a Slayer team up. Buffy got along with Kendra, and that was kind of nice. And then they went and they fought Spike, but more than anything, more importantly, they went to stop the ritual between Angel and Drusilla in order to save Drusilla or reawaken Drusilla's powers. And they stopped the ritual in the sense that Angel was saved. However, Drusilla seems to have somewhat awakened again. I'm not sure if she's back to full power or partial full power, but she showed to be strong and transformed, and she carried Spike out of the rubbles, and that was our episode ender. Yeah, beyond that, we also got updates on the relationship dramas. Sandra and Cordelia are hanging out now. They're having a thing. They're having a kiss-misses relationship. And then Willow met with Oz, and then Oz saved her life by jumping and taking a bullet for her. Again, that's like a dream situation, right? That's what you're dreaming of. That's like what you fantasize about. It's like, oh, that's the hot chick that I really like, and it's like, oh man, if I could, I would jump in the way and save her life, and I would take a bullet for her. That would be so fucking cool, you know, not a lethal one. I want to live, but then she's gonna be like, oh my god, you saved me. And it's like, hell yeah, I did. You know, that's what that was, and it worked out. And now Willow and Oz seem to be having a thing going on. Not entirely sure where that's gonna go. We can say with 95% certainty that's probably going to go into a romantic direction, but right now it's just cute to see them together, and I kind of like that. And Kendra just left. Hopefully we'll see Kendra at some point in the future. I'm expecting to do so, but I don't know when. But for now, let us begin. Also, let me just say that I don't feel as sick as I did the previous week, but I can feel that my throat is very dry, and I don't know if I'm gonna get sick tomorrow, or if I got COVID or something, or if this is gonna go away magically, which is why I'm recording this at 10 p.m, and I shouldn't, but I'm scared that tomorrow I'm gonna be dead, so let me record this real quick right now. So that's the current situation here. Alright, with that out of the way, check out the Patreon. Check out the link in the description below or at the bottom on screen. You can watch the next 2 episode reactions as well as full-length reactions, and just supporting the channel. That would help out a lot. Let us begin. So, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Season 2, Episode 11. Let's go. Okay, that's a problem.
No.
It's nothing.
Mom!
Okay.
Oh my.
Okay.
Buffy, this is Ted.
Hi, Ted. He looks like a Ted. My man looks like a Ted. When I think of Ted, that's what I imagine. Someone looking like that. Spider's right. I need to look away. Alright, so Buffy's mom got game. Sure. In this episode, Buffy gets a stepdad.
He's a wonderful man.
She doesn't seem thrilled by it.
I don't see why I shouldn't give him to you for the same price. Any friend of Buffy's. What?
What was that noise? I love that noise.
The finest pizza ever on God's green earth. What is your secret? You know, you should market these things. I mean, you can get $200-$300 a piece.
That's a lot.
I'm very fond of your mother, I guess. That's pretty obvious. I know you're the most important thing in her life, and, well, gosh, that makes you pretty important to me, too.
I'm okay. You are?
She's not.
I am.
I kind of want... She's letting out her anger, I'm guessing.
I believe he's
yeah. Yeah. Whenever a new character is introduced, I'm worried that this character is going to become a victim or an antagonist. I hope that doesn't happen to Ted. I want this episode to just be entirely just about Buffy just getting to accept Ted, because Ted is just good. I don't want Ted to be bad.
Everything all right?
Yeah, fine.
She needs to realize that, like, her mom is happy, and that's really what matters.
People are perfectly happy getting along, and then vampires come, and they run around and they kill people, and they take over your whole house. They start making these stupid little mini pizzas, and everyone's like, I like a mini pizza, but I'm telling you, I...
Yes.
I believe the subtext here is rapidly becoming a text.
Subtext is for cowards.
I think maybe we're in
Hello,
Sigmund
hello.
Freud territory.
He has a point. Separation anxiety, the mother figure being taken away, conflict with the father figure.
Let's not bring Freud into the table.
You're having parental issues.
Let's not give him any
Freud
more
would have said the
credit.
exact same thing,
Yes, he would have.
except he might not have done that little dance.
No, he probably would have.
I'm making a picnic basket
With many pizzas?
and cookies.
Oh, this! I want to see this.
Hello, Jenny.
Hi.
Rupert. Hi.
Yes, I wanted to see how you're doing.
I'm doing pretty good, actually.
You need time.
Or possibly space. Rupert, I know you're concerned, but having you constantly poking around, making little puppy dog eyes at me, wondering if I'm okay, make me feel bad that I don't feel better.
That's you. I'm just...
Worried. I know.
I shouldn't have bothered you.
I really like this. Oh my god. Suck.
Really great. And then she said I was being
Angel is
sarcastic, which
like-
I was, but I'm sorry if I don't want to talk about...
Angel's like, I'm too old for this shit.
I don't need some new guy in my life.
No, maybe your mom does.
That's the point, yes.
Well, sure, if you're gonna use wisdom.
Loneliness is about the scariest thing there is.
Does it have to be Ted?
Do you have somebody else in mind?
What's wrong with Ted? There could be something wrong with Ted, but so far, we don't.
My dad?
Okay, I guess that's where this comes from. I really hope Ted is not bad. I really don't want Ted to be bad. If Ted is bad, then that turns this episode into a Monster of the Week episode, and I don't want that.
Boatcracker Buffy, it's kind of her nickname.
Glad to hear it.
The mom is like,
I
that's
bet
full
that
of
means
shit.
your grades will be picking up soon.
Oh!
Oh, bad luck, little lady.
No, we won't count it.
We won't.
No, it's just miniature golf.
It is, but the rules are the rules. And what we teach her is what she takes out into the world when we're not there. I don't mean to overstep my bounds. This is between you and your mother. I just think right is right.
Hey, how about that? Got a hole in two.
Beg to
Just
differ.
cheated. He's like, you cheated, little lady.
Right, it's just a game, do your own thing. Well, I'm not wired that way. And I'm here to tell you, it is not a game. It does count, and I don't stand for that kind of malarkey in my house.
I'm wondering if this is real almost.
Thing I'm not in your house.
Do you want me to slap that smart-ass mouth of yours? Who's up for dessert? I made chocolate chip cookies.
Okay.
Buffy, you've got to try one of these. They're really good.
Is this the abuse episode? Okay, that is a little heavy, not gonna lie. That's a little bit bad.
He threatened me. He said that he was gonna slap my face.
He said no such thing. He caught you cheating, didn't he?
Yeah, I kicked my ball and put me in jail, but he totally wigged.
And he didn't say anything about it in front of the others, did he?
No, but I don't think that's
I thought that was pretty decent of him.
Did I mishear? Or did she just accept that?
This is so delicious.
Is he mind controlling them with the food?
Don't give me the look.
Every
I'm on
time,
your
every
side.
shot, they're
I'm
all
just saying
eating a
there's some
cookie or
things in life you have to
something.
accept.
The pizza, the cookie, anything. Yeah, okay.
Nice outfit.
Well, why don't you just keep your mouth shut?
Would you guys excuse me for a sec?
Oh, we gotta deal with this now.
Too traumatic for me to even say it.
That we kissed? Look, I'm not gonna tell. They're not gonna know.
You're talking out loud in a hallway full of people.
You wanna go to the utility closet and make out?
God, is that all you ever think about? Okay.
Oh my god, this too.
I guess he's the one to beat around here.
Nobody beats the machine. The guy is a genius.
Ooh.
Knows everything about computers, never loses a client. If I sound bitter, I am.
It feels like he games people.
Thank God he's taken off for the wedding.
The wedding.
Yeah, he's got it set for 2 months from now. Believe me, I am counting the days.
I'm really intrigued by this episode. They say clutter his desk, and it's literally one picture. Oh.
Are you two engaged?
Goodness, no. Whatever gave you that idea?
Now, Joyce, let me handle this. And if things go the way I hope, maybe Someday soon, I just might ask her to...
He's planning everything without considering anyone else. That's psychotic. It's very manipulative.
I feel like killing myself.
Buffy?
No, I told her to be honest. Sweetheart, you should try and get used to me, because you know what? I'm not going anywhere.
Joey should, like, start seeing a couple of the flags. Part of me is thinking that he has some kind of like mind control shit on his food or something, but I think he's just a psychopath. I think that's just it. That makes this episode way more interesting, by the way. I really don't want any vampires or supernatural entities or anything to come in.
What are you doing in here?
Your mother told you to go to your room, Buffy.
That's my personal property. How dare you?
What exactly is a vampire slayer?
It's none of your business.
Beg to differ, little lady. Everything you do is nothing but my business from now.
Oh, Lord.
You'll do what I say, when I say, or I show this to your mother, and you'll spend your best dating years behind the wall of a mental institution.
That's mine, and you are not leaving this room in it. I was so hoping you'd do that.
This is when you scream for your mom to get here. Of course he's still throwing punches now. He's doing that on purpose.
Ted. You killed him.
First of all, I don't believe it. Second, I hope he's dead. We'll see how this goes. I mean, this is serious. This is very much serious. This is the most shit serious the show has been so far, I think.
What happened?
Is she gonna lie or is she gonna say the truth?
He fell.
He lied.
I hit him.
Whew. This episode.
Was this the first time that you two had an argument?
He threatened me. He said that he would slap me.
And
That was tonight.
Oh, that was before. Tonight he did actually hit me.
Where? No, it doesn't look like he hit you very hard.
He's still hitting it.
But Ted never hit you.
I told you.
Before tonight. Ted never hit you before tonight.
What do you want? I told you what happened. I didn't mean to.
I believe you. Things got out of hand. He's a big guy.
I'm literally at the edge of my seat here. Like, this episode is... I mean, I asked for a supernatural shit episode or whatever. This is great. I hope it doesn't come with a twist or something where he's alive or whatever.
What was he? A demon? A giant bug? Some kind of dark god with the secrets of Nouvelle cuisine? I mean, we are talking creature feature here, right?
He was just some dude who hit me.
Oh, man.
The worst part about this is that Buffy does have a... I mean, that's not the worst part, but...
And I killed him.
Yes, that's the worst part about it.
Buffy, I don't know what happened exactly, but I do know you. And I know you would never hurt anyone intentionally. Well, you know, unless
they were dating my mother.
She didn't do it because of that, though. She did it as a self-defense act. But it's difficult. It's complicated. It's good. I like it.
Can't be much worse than what she's doing to herself. She's taken a human life.
Yes.
The guilt, it's pretty hard to bear. It won't go away soon.
I guess you should know since you helped raise that demon that killed that guy that time.
Yes. Let's bring that up as often as possible.
Cordelia just going right through everything.
Yeah, cute buddy. We'll work it out. No worries.
Is he getting possessed by cookies?
This is killing me.
Worrying isn't gonna solve any problems.
The cookie. Yes. How do we investigate this fucking cookie, though?
Mom, please, you have to know.
I can't. Not yet. Please, Buffy, just go to your room.
It hurts to see Buffy like this. She looks so distraught, so destroyed.
I think it's Dematorin.
Okay.
It's like a tranquilizer. Keeps you all mellow and compliant. It also shares a few
Okay.
components with ecstasy.
Oh.
This is evidence.
How do we fully prove this, though?
Records, marriage certificates, and an address.
Marriage certificates? So did he have like an ex-wife or something that we can prove she's gonna be like, oh yeah, he drugged me forever? This guy sucks, by the way. I'm glad he's dead. I hope he's dead.
I'm so sorry. I mean, I know how badly you must feel about
Behind
being
her.
in danger before.
Oh god, I hope Dad is dead.
It's official. This day can't get any worse.
That's the cue. Okay, here we go. What the fuck? Okay, so he is a supernatural entity?
That's right, little lady, you killed me.
Oh, maybe this is
Do we have something to say about that?
like traumatic. This might not even be real.
Let's see, I had to shut down for a while to get you off my back.
Are you actually a
should have
robot?
seen-
Shut down.
Oh no.
That's bad. Oh! I was hoping you would do that. Get fucked. Now go to the hospital, please. Is he a robot?
Playing fair, Missy.
He is a robot. He's literally a
gonna
robot.
find-
What? Literally, what the fuck? Why? How?
We're going to be very happy.
You're a robot. Do you feel emotion? What the fuck? Literally, what the fuck is happening?
So far, I've counted 4 marriage certificates.
Need divorce papers?
Not a one.
That is concerning.
I know you didn't mean to.
Yeah.
Joyce? They said I must have been dead for 6 minutes. They said any longer and it would have caused brain damage.
She never meant to hurt you. You have to believe me.
You don't have to worry about Buffy. You don't have to worry about anything. Daddy's here.
Oh my god. This is such a weird mix between like something that's very real and also like an extra Monster of the Week supernatural element to it.
Feels like home. If it's the 50s and you're a psycho.
I was thinking that. This robot has a step-port fetish. We might find dead women's bodies in here.
Let's go.
Yes.
We need evidence.
We got it.
What's in there?
It's for his 4 wives.
Yes. That's what he was planning to do with Joyce and with literally everyone else.
Don't I always tell you what to do?
Oh my
I'm going to
god.
make things right. Then you and I...
But
Want a little gravy with that?
she punched him so hard, he's glitching.
You might want to stop telling me what to do. I don't take orders from women. I'm not wired that way.
Okay. Alright, this blood is also happening.
No, you're just in shock.
It's a crazy night.
Yeah, you really know how to woo a girl back, don't you?
Ow, ow.
Hospital.
Yeah, hospital.
I already have your clothes. They're your size. They're always your size.
Oh.
You left me once, but I keep bringing you back. Husband and wife is forever.
That thing that he just said, the implication of that was really interesting. Oh! Fuck him up. Yeah, show me that. Show me that Terminator shit. Fuck him up. This is not a supernatural episode, this is a sci-fi episode. And like, how? Literally, how the fuck? Whatever, I'll just take it, right? I'll just take it. Did she know that he was a robot?
It's nothing. I still think he's gonna jump out at me. Especially after what the police found in his house.
He's on the scrap heap of life.
I'm dying and my wife dumps me. I build a better tech.
Okay,
He brings
that's
her
what
back,
happened.
holds her hostage in his bunker, oh love, until she dies. He keeps bringing her back over and over.
By finding, yeah,
Okay, that's
they're making
it.
out,
I
yeah.
give up.
Yeah. Alright, that episode was pretty incredible. Okay, that episode was wild. It was a little bit crazy. It was really crazy. By the way, I'm gonna try to be somewhat quiet because it's almost midnight. But yeah, oh my god, this episode. So I was thinking about it while I was making myself some food. This episode I almost want to divide into like 2 separate parts, because I feel like the episode was something for like the first like 65% of it, and then it changed into something completely different for the final 35%. It was really weird, and in some ways I feel like it, like, I don't want to say it lost me because it didn't. It was still very interesting, but I almost feel like at some point when they were writing this episode, they had an idea and then they were like, this idea is like really dark. Let's change it a little bit just to make it a little bit more digestible. And they turned it into like a wacky robot Monster of the Week episode. It wasn't that simple though. It was still kind of fucked, but like, because okay, so the first like more than half of the episode felt very real and dramatic and fucked, and that's what really got me. That's something I really loved, because I said it during the reaction. I was watching it and I was like, oh my god, like, is the show doing this? Like, this is the most interesting the show has been, because it's the most serious the show has been, because the show was very much touching on a couple of subjects that are very serious in nature. And I was watching it and I was like, holy fuck, because we have this guy and he is dating Buffy's mom, and he's like, I'm gonna be part of your life now. And it's like, okay. And initially when I was watching it, like at the very beginning, I was like, he seems all right so far, you know, like whenever a character is introduced, I'm worried that it's gonna be a victim or an antagonist. So I'm like looking at him and I'm like, please be good. And I said it, I was like, please just be a good guy. And I kind of want the entire episode to just be about Buffy trying to come to terms about Ted and kind of accepting him in some way. Like, that would be fun, because the entire episode I would have been like on my toes of like, is he bad or is he gonna die or something? And then at the end it's like, no, it was just a drama episode and Buffy comes to terms with it in some kind, you know? But then it switched into abuse, into some kind of abuse drama, which made it a whole lot more interesting. I'll say that, because he started being abusive towards Buffy, and he was being a little bit of a control freak too, and he was like very psychopathic. And you can see in a couple of moments, like right away when he says like, I'm gonna be part of your life now, that's like a little bit like, okay, sure, like that's sure, we'll roll with it, it's not too terrible. But it's a little bit of like, I don't know about that, Chief moving a little bit too fast. But then when he's in the golf course and he tells Joyce like, the rules are the rules, like she has to go from there. Meanwhile, Joyce wanted Buffy to just redo that shot. He was like, no, rules are rules, she has to go over there. And it's like, okay, a little bit stern for no reason, but a little bit of a stickler, but sure, that's just like a personality trait. And when I saw that, I was like, it's gonna be like a thing of like divisive, of like conflicting personalities. But then he just straight up became abusive. He was like what the fuck are you doing? You cheated, you're going against the rules or whatever. And he was like, I'm gonna fucking slap you. Then he turned around and he just went and hung out with like the other three and just chilled, and he was just happy and whatever. And it was this moment of like, what the fuck? And it was really fucked up, because he was hitting on a couple of like very serious issues regarding. It is interesting that I'm talking about that, like a very serious issue episode, and I'm also like talking quietly, which is contrasting my yelly way of recording videos usually. So I guess it fits. But it is a very serious topic that I felt like the show was tackling on, and I felt like they did to a degree. I like right at the beginning at least, because it's about how he is being abusive towards Buffy. He threatened her, and then he's playing nice with everyone else and everyone else accepting him, and then Buffy feels alone because she tells people like he's not good and they don't believe her. And then it's interesting because at the very beginning she's being antagonistic towards Ted, but it's entirely because she doesn't accept someone coming in and being a part of her life right away. She kind of wants to be with her dad, like her real dad in some way, or she doesn't want her mom to go with anyone else. Like, it's a whole different mix of emotions, and I get it, I get it. And a lot of the things this episode did, I got, and that's why I feel really enthralled by it, because my mom is divorced from my dad, and my dad wasn't a great guy whenever he lived here. And my mom has also hung out with another dude throughout the years, just coming in, coming out. And I do kind of get a couple of the feelings that Buffy was going through here, because I'm like, yeah, I get it. I've been in that position and it feels weird, but ultimately what she needed to realize is like, like if your mom is happy, then sure, this is for your mom, not for you. And in some ways you feel sad about Joyce, because Joyce just kind of has to deal with Buffy, and besides that, she kind of doesn't really have much else. So I'm just sitting here like, okay, I just want Joyce to be happy in some way. So if that is what it takes, then sure, we'll embrace Ted. But then he just swerved into just abuse, and he was being a shit, and he was manipulating everyone, literally. And I'm glad I noticed like the food, because it was a very, very clear aspect about Ted. The fact that he keep he kept like cooking things and giving them to people, and everyone was like, oh my god, you're such a good cook. And in some ways I get it, you know. If some dude just dropped by and just gave me like the best fucking pizza I've ever had in my life, I would be like, you know what, sure, you can chill. It's just, but then this alienates Buffy and it makes her feel alone, and I'm not entirely sure, but I think in that scene when she tells Joyce like he hit me or something, no, he didn't hit her, but he threatened her. I think she told that to Joyce, and I think Joyce said something like it's fine, basically. Like, yeah, he might have threatened you, but you know, it's gonna get better. It's just like that sometimes. I think that's kind of how that scene went. I don't remember it real well, but that's how I felt in the moment, and it felt very dismissive to me. And I was like, what the fuck? Now it makes sense if that is what happened, because she was being drugged actively. So she was like, don't worry about it, you know, like Sandra did the same thing at the end of the episode. So the moment that started happening, I was like, okay, this is going to be real serious. And it was real serious. And then like Buffy was just going out and just being like she feels alone. She's thinking about all this whole thing. And then she comes back and fucking Ted is in her room. And he's like, what the fuck is this vampire slaying bushness? Like, what the fuck is your deal? And honestly, at this point is when Buffy should just like scream like, Mom, what the fuck is this guy doing in my room? But maybe she even allowed him to get to Buffy's room. I don't know what the fuck Joyce said. But like, then they just get into a fight. Buffy's like, getting my dagger back, and he's like, no, fuck you. And then they just get into a fight. He hits her. And the moment he hit her, I was like, holy shit. Like, because we're used to seeing Buffy fighting vampires and demons and whatever the fuck, like we're used to seeing that. But in this instance, Buffy was being hit by her mom's boyfriend, which is just another dude. And it wasn't at the end of the episode, it was just another monster. But at the moment, it really made you feel like this is a very like fucked up like human moment, you know. And that felt very real. It felt very honest. And it felt like, holy shit, like that feels like a very serious turn to take your show in. A show that historically hasn't been that before. This is the same show with the fucking Master, who's just overacting everything, and it's just like goofy vampires and shit, right? And I'm not saying that's the way it's going to be forever. In fact, I got a comment in like what was the episode? Episode 7, I think it was, for this season. Someone told me like, I consider this to be the first episode of the show. And I'm just sitting here like, what the fuck were the previous episodes then? But yeah, I don't know in what direction the show is going to go. But like in this episode, in this moment, it felt like that was like the real first moment where it got real serious real quick. And I was like, this feels a little bit uncomfortable in how serious it is. Not uncomfortable in like a weird way, you know. We had a couple of uncomfortable episodes that were just weird. This one felt real uncomfortable in a real sense, which is why it made it so good for the first half of it. And when I say that, I don't mean to like discredit like the end of the episode, whatever the direction it takes. I mean, I think it makes it worse, but at the same time it makes it more easy to digest and more easy to move forward from this episode, because the way this episode goes is that then they have a fight. Buffy's like, I was so hoping you would do that. And then she just starts fighting him, just starts kicking him and shit. And then she kicks him down a flight of stairs. And of course, when she does that, he's not throwing any punches. So Joyce doesn't see any of the fucking abuse that he's lashing out. Because like, honestly, if Joyce had seen him punch Buffy, I feel like Joyce would have been like, what the fuck? All right, like, sure. Whatever, she killed him, whatever, you know, like he was an abusive piece of shit, but she didn't see that. And of course she says that he hit her, but you know, it's complicated. I'm not saying she didn't believe her, but it's one of those things where it's like it's a mix of emotions, you know. But yeah, she just kicks him down a flight of stairs and he falls and dies. And I thought, like, when he died immediately, I said two things. I was like, one, I don't believe it, and two, I hope he's dead. Because personally, there's a couple of things that I have like zero tolerance for, and That is one of them. That is one of those. Just seeing this dude just beating down this kid, and I'm just sitting and trying to, like, what is the word? Indoctrinate? I don't think that's the right use of the word. I don't know what the word I'm searching for is, but essentially, like, isolate Buffy from everyone else. You know, her mom and her friends, and everyone believes that this guy is great, and she's the one that sounds like she's crazy, you know? And, like, while he's clearly being abusive and manipulative, when I saw that, I was like, fuck it, kill him good. Just, so when he fell and they were like, he's dead, I'm just sitting here like, I hope so. But then of course it became very real when the police comes in, and then the mom is like, yeah, he died, he fell a set of stairs, and then Buffy was like, I punched him, I hit him, you know. And then they go and ask Buffy, like, what's the situation like? And it was like, yeah, like, he hit me, and, like, he threatened me before. We argued before, he threatened me, and this time he did hit me. And that time there was a little bit of a shed, but whatever, it didn't really matter at the end of the day. But all of this felt like a turning point for the show. And I got excited for it. And you can see how excited I was, I think. I was like, I'm at the edge of my seat. I love this drama. It's really fucked up because it was complicated. You know, it was complicated. This guy was an abusive, manipulative piece of shit. And no one really saw it. But then Buffy killed him. And then they just have to believe her. But then, even if they do believe her, it is complicated because now she feels like shit because she killed a human being. She killed some dude. And you can see how guilty she is. And she's like, I didn't, like, sure, he was abusive or whatever, but that didn't give me any, like, reason for me to use my Slayer abilities on him. You know, that's not what the Slayer abilities are for. Like, I shouldn't have just killed him like that. And I wouldn't blame her for it because I'm like, fuck this guy, you know? And I don't think Sander or Willow or anyone really blamed her for it. Maybe Joyce a little bit, but even then we didn't get to see a lot of that. You know, they have to believe her because they believe Buffy. They trust Buffy. But in some level, they're like, damn, she just killed some dude. And Buffy feels that everyone thinks that. Buffy feels that everyone sees that. And more than anything, she feels that herself. She's like, I just killed someone. And that's completely different than just ending some demon that you were destined to kill or whatever. Like, that's just something else. And that's when the real serious portion of the episode ends and the sci-fi of the episode kicks in. When, like Ted comes back and he's literally a robot. And it turns out that he's been, like, chasing random, like, housewives that fit his criteria. I'm guessing, like, measurements and height and age and, like, looks in some way. And she's trying to recreate this, like, traditional housewife that the original creator who made the robot had in, like, the 50s or whatever. So then this robot keeps going out and trying to find the perfect woman that fits at this a specific, like, setting, and then gets her into this, like, isolated, like, house room that looks like probably the original house that he was made in. And yeah, it's just doing that forever until the woman literally dies, and then he goes and gets another. And that's literally that's really fucked up. Like, that's like Torchwood level fucked up almost. And I kind of like that. I kind of love that. But it's very different from the previous 60% of the episode. It is very different. Again, for the majority, like the first more than half of the episode, I was really into this, like, really fucked up character drama, and I was like, oh my god, this is so interesting, this is so fucked up. It's touching on themes of abuse, it's touching on themes of manipulation, and then it turns into this, like, tragic murder, and then Buffy has to deal with it, like the consequences that it weighs on other characters as well as herself. And I was just sitting here like, oh my god, this is so crazy, so good. And then don't worry about it. It was just some robot. And he comes back in and then we kill him good. And now everyone's fine. Because even at the end, like, you don't see how she kills him. she just like defeats him in combat, and we don't see what happens to the body, and Joyce doesn't see the body. So then I'm wondering, like, what the fuck was the conversation afterwards, you know? Because they're talking about it as if it was like he came back, you know? He came back and attacked us. They were talking about it right at the end. And I'm just sitting here like, why did you tell her? Because you didn't tell her he was a robot. Because then she was trying to hide it. She said, like, send him to the scrapyard. And she's like, what? And he's like, the scrapyard of life or whatever, you know? So she hid the robot thing from her. But then what does she think? I guess she thinks that what he said about like being alive and passed out and then he came back like a day later was true. And then he suddenly turned abusive. And then he disappeared. I guess. I guess that's what she thinks. I just wish she had seen that. I wish Joyce had seen that, because I just want Joyce to know that Buffy keeps fighting this fucked up like sci-fi or supernatural like entities. That would be great to see, but whatever. But also the thing of like Xander and Willow and Cordelia, they got evidence. What did they do with the evidence? You know, like because they can show the police the stuff. But at the same time, then what is the police going to do? They're going to be like, oh yeah, they had a killer robot, you know? Like, it doesn't feel like that matter whatsoever. They just discovered what the background was, which for us matters, but for the plot, I'm not sure it did. So this episode was weird and interesting for different reasons. And again, I feel like this is not me saying that this is the way it was, but it almost feels like they were right in the episode. They had an idea for a super serious episode touching on super serious drama and themes. And halfway through it, they were like, this is like way too much. We can't do this. This is like legitimately way too much. So then they like swerved and they were like, let's just make it a Monster of the Week episode. And they did. And to be fair, the Monster of the Week part of it was also cool. It was good because the concept was crazy enough that I'm just sitting here like, that's fucked up. I kind of love that. But I almost got a whiplash going from one side to another, because again, like halfway through the episode, I was like, I really don't want this to be a Monster of the Week episode. I really want this to be a serious drama, because that's kind of what I want. I want a serious drama Buffy episode. I want to see what that would look like. I want an episode where there's like literally no vampires, no supernatural entities, no sci-fi elements, just character drama. And this episode, I feel like would have been so crazy if it had been that, if the robot part never kicked in, if he was just an abusive dude and then we kill him and then we just kind of deal with like the weird mixture of emotions that causes. Because what I feel like is that at the end of this episode, there was like literally no change for any character from the previous episode, right? Everything is still the same. But if he hadn't been a robot, there would have been a lot of like force, like development and struggle that would have been thrown in there. And I would have loved to see that, honestly. I would have loved to see that. I don't want to say this episode is disappointing, because at the end of the day, I really like the Monster of the Week. Like, compare this Monster of the Week episode to other Monster of the Week episodes. I feel like I really like this one, and I really like the idea they had for the monster. Once again, I really like that it was sci-fi instead of supernatural. I think I like sci-fi more than supernatural personally, and especially when it's something like this, where it's like kind of fantastic but also mostly grounded. You know, it makes somewhat sense. You can look at it and be like, okay, I follow. It's just crazy that an AI and a robot this complex would exist, but whatever, we'll roll with it. But yeah, I kind of like that. It's just the fact that it was in this episode where for the first more than half of it, I was just so enthralled by how shit serious it was and how much it made me think that this was going to be like a heavy, very heavy character drama and development episode, and then it wasn't. I mean, it was still there. Those scenes still happen, which is good, but I feel like we're not going to carry anything from this episode into future episodes, and that's mostly where if I'm going to have a problem with this episode, it's going to be that. It's the fact that I feel like it wasn't serious enough to the point that we're going to carry that. It's just something of like, oh, he was just some dumb robot. Fuck it. Like, it doesn't matter. Moving on, you know? And I suppose that leaves us with the talk of Giles and Jenny. They're back together. That's good. I like to see Jenny again because before Jenny had this issue where, well, she got possessed by a demon, and I rewatched that episode, not the episode, but like my video of it. I watched like a couple sections of it because I wanted to see a couple things about it, and I saw her face with the demon makeup again, and I was like, yeah, that's really fucked up. I can't imagine what it must feel to like mutate that much, that hard, you know, and also lose your sense of self. That's probably really traumatic. So again, I really understand where Jenny is coming from. But in this episode, Giles goes and tries to be like, hey, I was wondering if you're okay. And Jenny kind of like pushes him away because she says that, hey, like, it makes me feel bad that you worry about me this much, that you keep like eyeing me this much and trying to be like, hey, are you okay and stuff. And it's like, just leave me alone, give me my time. Like, it makes me feel worse. And it might sound harsh to say that, and it kind of is, but at the same time, it's understandable. It's understandable where she's coming from. So I can't really be mad at her or upset at her. But I realized that then she came back and she was like, Giles, I'm sorry. Like, the way I treated you, I shouldn't have said those things because that was like a little bit too harsh. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I'm not doing well, so I wasn't being fully good with you. And Giles is like, okay, understandable. But also there's a demon there. We gotta fight the vampire. So then they start fighting this vampire, and Jenny shoots with the crossbow, and she thinks she's gonna get the vampire, and she hits Giles instead in the back. And it's a moment of like, oh shit. But then Giles is a fucking badass, and then he just grabs the arrow off his fucking back and just uses the arrow to manually stab the vampire and kill him. And I'm like, I thought about it, like, as he did it. I was like, what if he just did it. And I was like, oh, that's so cool. So he just stabbed the vampire with that arrow, and I was like, that's great. She essentially just delivered the arrow to him, you know. She just passed him an arrow, you know. It was just a very effective way of passing the arrow by shooting it instead. But yeah, that worked out. And then Miss Callan, Jenny, she was like, okay, let's go to the hospital. And then they just started laughing about like how wacky this night was. And it's like, yeah, okay, at least it was an eventful night. And that's how they bonded again back together. And they're together now, and that's good. I enjoyed that. And then the other thing of note to say is that Sandra and Cordelia are still into each other. So they had this moment where they're like, don't want to interact with the other because they're trying to like pretend that nothing happened. But then Sandra was like, you want to go make out? And Cordelia was like, okay, sure. And then they just left. So that was really interesting and kind of funny. And yeah, what else is there to say about this episode, honestly, that I haven't said already? I actually really like this episode. But again, I have to say again that like the episode turns into a completely different thing. Literally like 32 minutes into the episode. 32 minutes into the episode is when Ted shows up again. And you can argue like a couple minutes before that is when they discover the drugs in the cookies, which I managed to tell. I didn't know there were drugs. I was like, there were some supernatural elements of magic or whatever, but no, it's just drugs. But 32 minutes in is when fucking Ted shows up again, and it's just like, okay, whatever. We're just doing some whatever shit now. And for a moment, I thought that maybe it was inside her head. She was like imagining that he was there because out of guilt, you know? Something like that would have been really interesting. But no, he's just a robot, and he's back, and he's gonna fuck your shit up. So that's when the episode just went off the rails. I mean, it's not that it went off the rails, because that would imply a train crash. I don't think the episode crashed. I think it just started doing multi-track drifting. It just... like, the episode literally just started multi-track drifting, because he was just doing two things at once. At the very beginning, it was doing this very serious drama, and it looked like it was going to be something that would weigh heavy on the characters, and it would carry over, and it was going to be something with a very serious theme to tackle on and like address. And then it just turned into like, the robot is here to collect housewives and we gotta kill him. And we did. And then we were like, all right, all ends well. And given the themes and like some of the stuff that happened early on the episode, their meaning isn't necessarily detracted by the way the episode resolved. But some of it is. On some level, I'm like, I kind of wish that the robot thing hadn't happened, but at the same time, I like that it was there. I feel like we should have done 2 different episodes. We should have dedicated an episode to the step forward fetish robot, and then we should have dedicated another episode to Buffy kills some dude. and then we just deal with the consequences of that. I feel like that would be really interesting. Both of those episodes would be interesting on their own. Together, it's just weird. It's just wild. Again, this was the multi-track different episode of Buffy. All right, I think that's gonna be it for this review. It is late at night. My voice is kind of giving out. I'm not talking very loud, but at the same time, I said that I feel my throat is dry. Hopefully, I don't have COVID. Maybe I do. Maybe I'm gonna die. You'll see in like a couple weeks. I'm just gonna get the fuck out of here now. Thank you so much for watching. And alright everyone, thank you so much for watching this episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. If you'd like to watch the next 2 episode reactions, you can already do so over at the Patreon. Check out the link in the description below. Social media, all cool stuff that I do. See you guys next time. Bye bye. Take care.